What's up, you guys? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? Welcome to my channel, Discovering Nicole. That would be me, Nicole. And today we are actually going to be doing an interview. We got story time today, y'all. Today, Allison is coming to share her experience, strength, and hope. You guys know how we do it around here, okay? What I like to do is I like to have the guests come on. We have them introduce themselves, and then I ask them to share with us a little bit about what it was like for them when they were a kid growing up. Like, did they come from a two-parent household? Did they experience any kind of trauma? That kind of thing. How they got into using drugs and alcohol. Okay. What it was like their first time using drugs and alcohol. Share with us their worst experience or their rock bottom that they feel like they had that made them like want to change, and then share with us what they did to change and what they're doing now in their recovery. And it's super like laid back here. Like, it's not super fucking professional. Like, my son might come in here. My husband might say something. My dog might bark. Where's my co-host? Oh, Paco will be in here in a minute. He's getting some food from Daddy. And then, whatever. We're here for the story. All that other stuff don't matter, right? As long as you guys can hear me. Can you hear me? And can you see me? Let me know if you can hear me and if you can see me. As long as y'all can hear me and see me, that's all that matters, right? So what I'm going to do is I am going to come into this chat on YouTube, and I am going to link some stuff in here. If you guys want to join Patreon, you know the deal. YouTube just recently demonetized my channel. And so if you want to support your girl in a monetary way, you don't have to. Don't feel obligated. But if you want to, I certainly won't fight you on it. And I would love it. So that is that. There's the link for that. And yeah, so there we go. If y'all don't mind, share this video, like this video, and invite your friends. I'm going to do the same. I'm going to share this video over here. We are live, yo. All of y'all that are coming in here, do me a solid. If you're in recovery, let me know like how long you've been sober, what your drug of choice was, where you're from, that kind of thing. If you're not in recovery and you're like feeling some type of way, that's okay. Don't be ashamed. You can hang out with us too. We don't mind. It doesn't matter if you're still using, okay? We're not going to judge you. Nobody's going to judge you for being fucked up here, okay? Because were fucked up too. So if you're fucked up, that's okay. You can tell me something that you're grateful for, and, tell me where you're from. So there's no shame in, being a drug user, okay? No shame at all. Hey, Pixie. Hey, Sam. Hey, Allie. Let me say hi to everybody. Hey, Jessica. Hey, Cindy. Hey, Taylor. Hey, Pinup Pumpkin. Hey, Ashley. Hey, Sheila. Hey, Robin. We had a good live stream last night too, y'all, with Robin. We talked about relapse prevention. And so for those of you guys that don't know, probably about 7 or 8 months ago, maybe a year ago, I was on a live stream on TikTok, and I created the Nicole Pludre Foolproof Relapse Prevention Plan. That means that anybody can do this relapse prevention plan because it's literally designed by me. And so, it's got to be easy if I made it. And it's literally just like things that you can incorporate into your daily routine that will help you on your path to sobriety. And it's literally the things that I did, basically. And, my recovery wasn't like designed like exactly how AA and NA told me to do it. I kind of like tweaked things and made my own like a little recovery program, so these are the things that I did in my recovery and still do to this day in my recovery to stay sober. Okay. Like, seriously, like I still, every morning when I wake up, I still say, take my will in my life, guide me in my recovery, and show me how to live. clean, and serene. I still every morning make a gratitude list. I don't write it down, but I think it in my mind. And those are things like I do every single day. I still have a list of 10 people that I can call if I'm struggling. I still snitch on my addiction. You know what I mean? I tell on my disease. So, like, all the things that are in that relapse prevention plan are all things that I do myself. So, like, I would never tell you to do something that I couldn't do. You know what I mean? And so, it's just practice makes perfect. Practice makes perfect, you know? And so little by little, you incorporate those new behaviors into your daily routine, and you start retraining your brain. Your mind starts becoming, you start becoming different because you're doing those different behaviors every day. So it's pretty awesome. I think it's pretty awesome. So let me see. It's almost 6 o'clock. So I guess I'll get Allison. Allison, you better be ready because I'm bringing you on. Oh, hold on a second. I was going to bring you on. I said I'm going to bring her on, but I'm not going to bring her on. Add a stream. There we go.
There
hey,
we
girl.
Are. Hello.
I can hear you. Are you excited?
I am. I'm very excited. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm so happy you're here. And I know that we didn't get together the other day. And I'm sorry. And I'm so glad that you were flexible with me. Thank you so much for being flexible, for real.
Absolutely. You got it, Nicole.
I love you, girl. You are amazing. So let me give you a rundown of how it goes. You don't have to worry about a thing because I'm going to let you talk. If I have any questions, or if you kind of get to a point where I notice that you're kind of like maybe struggling, or maybe you need me to ask you a question, I'll kind of come in and ask you a question. But what I would like you to do is start out and share with us what it was like when you were growing up. I want to know, like, did you come from a 2-parent household? Did you experience any kind of traumas when you were younger? And then take us into, when you started using. Okay, what was it that took you to that point? And then what was it like when you were using? And then how you got sober and what your life is like now.
Okay, you got it.
Okay.
All right, so I was born in 1971, so that shows my age. I am 51 years old. I was born, my parents were married at the time, but they shortly divorced. Later, it became final when I was 3 years old. My mother was a single mom, and she raised me along with my maternal grandparents, so her parents. Now, she has a sister who's my aunt, and she is only 8 years older than I am, and we grew up more like sisters than aunt and niece. And that was a very good part of my childhood, growing up in that, probably the first, I would say, 10 to 12 years. And I lived with my grandparents for a chunk of time during that period. And my mom worked a lot. She wasn't home a lot, so I did stay with them. My grandmother was a teacher, and that helped me a lot as well.
So you had your grandma and your grandpa in the same house as you, yeah?
Yes. Yep.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Yes. Yep. They were amazing. I miss them so much. God rest their souls. But they were an instrumental part in my life, and very supportive in everything for me that, that I did or whatever. So now if we go up to like about 5 years old, my mother remarried. That didn't last too long. It was about 3 years. So then when I got to be around 11 years old, my mom and I ended up going to a church. And that was where I learned sign language, actually. A deaf woman. Cool. Yeah, a deaf woman came to our church and decided to teach us sign language. And I picked it up really quick. And I attribute that to being young, because I think if I tried to learn it now, I don't think I'd pick it up as easy. So I began interpreting for our deaf ministry when I was 12. And I did that probably till I was about late 14. Yeah, probably around that age. So a couple years. And during that time, though, so my mother had divorced her second husband, right? So it was my mom and I. Single, she was single again. And so my Sunday school teacher at the time was married, and my mother and him, he ended up marrying my mother. He ended up dating my mother first. He got divorced from his wife, and him being my Sunday school teacher, that was a really big blow to me. And I ended up leaving the church. They were asked to leave, understandable. But yeah, I had a really hard time with that.
What kind of church did y'all go to? Like, what kind of religion was it?
Pentecostal.
Oh, yep. We have a lot in common. You've told me that before. Okay.
Yeah.
So your mom and the Sunday school teacher started hooking up. Yep. And so he got divorced and then got with your mom, and everybody at the church was probably like,
exactly.
And so they asked you guys to not be in the church anymore because of that adultery, right?
Correct. Yes. They asked them to leave. Myself, they didn't. However, back in the day, I don't know if they still called it backsliding. Okay, so I was a backslider because I came to church one day and I was still doing the deaf ministry. I had makeup on, and that is when I was asked privately, well, you can't interpret anymore because yada yada yada. In that church, women are not allowed to wear makeup, so that was a big thing.
Right.
So, I never came back. I never went back to that church. So, my mom moved with my Sunday school teacher out of my comfort, my growing up town, and moved to a town like way out in the boonies. And I say to this day, I hate that town. And so what ended up happening was my stepfather, I guess they were still dating at the time, but they did end up getting married. He became very inappropriate with me. And I found out later that is the reason he went after my mother, was to get to me.
Oh.
Yeah. So that was very traumatic. I should probably back up 1 second though. My biological father, the reason my mom divorced him, because he was abusive to her. And that'll come into play towards the end. So anyway, so yes, my stepfather, my mother's third husband, was very inappropriate with me. There was no can I say, I guess I can say anything on here. Okay, there was no sex. Okay, there was no sex. But that still doesn't make it okay.
Right.
And it was very hard for me to approach my mom about it, or my grandparents. And at the time, I don't have any shame towards my grandparents or my mother or anybody, but at the time they didn't believe me. So that was a very difficult situation. So I'm in a new school now, and I made a lot of good friends. I'm still friends with a lot of the people today. So this new school was really good. But when I was 16, I got my first car, and I got into a car accident, and I ended up getting a traumatic brain injury. I had 50 plus stitches and staples in my forehead from here all the way up.
Wow.
So, yep. So
what happened? How did you get in the car accident?
So I was driving home my third day of my senior year from school. And like I'd mentioned, the town we moved to was way out in the boonies, and the road was a very windy road. And I was driving home, and a car came towards me, speeding, and hit me head on, and then on the side.
Wow.
They had to get the jaws of life to get me out of the car. And it's just crazy to even think, like, here I am, I had to learn how to read again, write again. I didn't even know what hand I wrote with. It was, and this is where it comes into play. My grandmother was a teacher. That woman was a saint. She helped me so much. And back then we had to read the book, Lord of the Flies. It was a hard book regardless. She read that whole book into a tape recorder so I could just press play and listen to it. I mean, just like incredible. But anyway, so that's another part of like the trauma. There's physical trauma as well. Okay, so I experimented as a teenager with cocaine. I drank. I never liked marijuana though. I'm one of those people. I don't have any problem with other people doing it, but I don't know. I end up stupid. I
I
drooling
smoked
on
it
my.
when I was in high school, but I was like, I just did it because everybody else was doing it. It wasn't like my thing. You know what I mean?
Same. Yep, I do know what you mean. So all right, I'm trying to think, where are we at? Okay, so I graduated. I went to college, got an associate's in interpreting for the deaf.
Oh wow, that's
Yeah,
awesome. Tell me
thank you.
this, like when you started doing the sign language in the church, did you like automatically have like a passion for that? Because like it's to me doing that is like a helping thing, you know, like you're helping other people, you're being of, you know, can't
Yes.
hear. And so what turns you on to like really enjoying doing that? Was it just something natural that came to you?
It was very natural. Yes. Yep. I was very nervous to even go down and take the class. I was very shy when I was young, very shy. But I remember there was a lesson that they were teaching, and I just picked it up so quick, and it just kind of took off from there. And the older people, older, I say older, they're probably in their 20s at the time. And they saw how quick I picked it up, and being young at the time too, like, oh wow, this is great. So that really helped me too. But I really became to have a passion for it all those years later, and that's why I went to college for it.
That's awesome. And I bet you also like you picked it up really fast. So that gave you confidence too. And you were like, I'm good at this. This is something
Yeah.
that I can be good at. So that's cool. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So then at 20, how old was I? 22. Okay. So at 21, I met the father of my children. At 22, I had my first daughter, and she is now 29. Oh my God. um, and so I married him. We got married I was 27. How old was I? Oh my goodness. I am so sorry. I was 22 when I had her.
You're fine. Listen to me. You don't have to know exactly how old you were. Just,
Okay.
because I forget how old I was when I did certain things. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yep. So I had my kids. All right. So I had my second. I married him when I was 27. 25. I had my second daughter when I was 27. Things were great. I mean, we had the typical home with a picket fence, dog, and all this stuff. So at 29, I had a back surgery. And that is when I found my love for opiates. I was just in awe of it. I wasn't taught, though, that it was addictive.
Right.
I had no idea at the time that it was addictive. And then, mind you, I was also in therapy, and the psychiatrist prescribed me Zoloft and Klonopin. Okay. So here I am on these two, a benzo and a antidepressant med. And then I'm now taking Vicodin for pain for my back. The surgery went great, was a success, but I got prescribed 2 prescriptions for it. So what that ended up doing to me, I did to myself, doing to me, whatever, doctor shopping.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yep, learning in my own way how to manipulate doctors, hospitals, anybody I could think of. And back then, Nicole, you could get Vicodin online.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I would buy it. Yep. And I bought it, and I bought it, and I bought it. And I ended up getting divorced from my kid's father, and got my own place with my kids. I was still using the pills and still going to different doctors. And I went into a pain management place and got prescription from him. Went to a pharmacy. Well, they ended up calling him and saying, oh, she got a prescription for Percocet the day before. He gets on the stinking phone with me in the pharmacy, and tells me, I hate it when my patients do this and all this stuff. So after I didn't get that prescription that day, I ended up in an institute of living, which is basically a psychiatric ward, because I was suicidal.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yep. And I was there for 5 days. So I did this for about 5 years. Eventually,
Doctor
it led
shopping?
me. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So like you have to go to like extreme lengths to go to all these different doctors and then go to different pharmacies to fill them at different pharmacies. So how many
Mm.
doctors would you see in tell me about a week in the life of Allison.
Well, in a week, probably 3, because I could get them online too.
Uh-huh.
So I would get them delivered to my door too. It's just
Yeah.
crazy. I mean, it's insanity when you think of it. When you're in it, you don't think it is. And so that's how that was. And I ended up losing everything. So my kids ended up going to their dad's. I lost my condo, and I ended up I had gone to like inpatient meaning detox, probably 5 to 6 times in this time frame, but never did a long inpatient. So anyway, so finally we're at the point where I lose everything. I'm homeless, and I end up in a shelter, and I'm still writing. I'm still getting prescriptions. And then one of my doctors cut me off. I was on OxyContin from him, and he just cut me off cold turkey. So what I did is I had a prescription pad I stole a prescription pad from my daughter's pediatrician. And I was writing out false prescriptions for about a year. And I ended up getting busted about a year later. I got caught in Big Y Pharmacy. And it's not funny, but when I'm nervous, I laugh. So please don't
No,
take me
it's
the wrong
okay.
way.
No,
All right.
I understand.
Good. Thank you. All right. So, yeah, so I'm in the pharmacy, and I had been doing this for about a year, like I said, and I knew at some point it was going to happen. So I knew once that pharmacist looked at me, I just knew it. And then a cop comes in and he's like, "You over there, hands behind your head." And I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
So I got arrested. And so what happened is I went to court the next day because they let me off. It was in Massachusetts. And they let me go and promised to appear the next day. And I remember the police officer telling me, "You better be there or I'll find you." I'm like, "Oh, damn, I better be there." So
Yeah.
I'm also like in a shelter at this point. So, if you're in a shelter, there's a time you can come in and a time you can leave. So I had to keep that in mind too. So I ended up going to court and got a public defender. And luckily, the end story of all of that is it got nollied. And
What?
Yeah, yep.
Wow.
I couldn't believe it. I know. And I think it's because I did everything that was asked of me, and it was my only arrest like ever. I don't know, but that's my guess.
They null processed it.
Yep.
Yes. No, girl, something happened. You got lucky. They didn't have
Yep.
evidence. They didn't have something. Something
Yep.
happened and they didn't have it on their end because
Yep. The grace of God, because they wanted to give me 5 years.
Yeah.
And I was like shaking. Like what? But
that listen to me. Yeah. That is serious. Like I have friends who have gotten in trouble for writing prescriptions,
Yep.
and gone to prison for writing prescriptions. So they must have dropped the ball on their ends. God was watching over you.
Yeah, definitely.
For real.
Absolutely. Yes. So that all, happened and everything. So now I'm at a point in my life where, okay, I'm still homeless. I got to figure out how to get out of the shelter and get my life together. Okay. Well, I got a place. I ended up talking to a relative of mine, and they offered me that, to stay at their house on the couch. And I was like, oh, okay. And it was fine. That I know my relative, I know my cousin really well, and that's fine. And so that's what I did. But in the interim, he had a friend, quote unquote friend, at least that's what I thought. They knew each other. So this is kind of where things get kind of triggery if anybody's triggered, just to let you all know ahead of time. So I'm going to try to do it as best as I can. So I talked on the phone with my cousin's friend. I don't know, Joe. We'll give him a name, Joe. And he offered to fly me down to Mississippi, fly me to the Alabama airport, and then drive to Mississippi. Now, I really didn't know too much about him other than the fact that he did meth. I did know that. And he did something with the casinos, but I didn't know exactly what. And so dummy me, flies down there. Don't know the guy from Adam, just know that he's friends with my cousin. So I meet him, and the first time he looks at me, he's like, "Oh, you'll do." Like, I didn't know what that meant. I'm like, "What?"
Yeah.
Thanks. Okay. So he ends up being introducing me to crystal meth. The first night I got there, I smoked it. He ends up, like, a couple nights later, injecting it, and he would inject it into my arm and my neck. And I'll be honest, this is the best fucking feeling I've ever felt in my life.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know.
I'll be honest. Yeah. And I remember we stayed at hotels, okay, because what he did was he hustled Ultimate X poker machines at the casinos. Don't ask me how. I mean, I've watched it. I don't really get it, but he basically would steal people's money through the slot machine. So I was there for about 2 weeks, and I end up, doing meth the whole time, meeting all these different people, and I end up going home. So home back to my cousins. So what eventually happens was he ends up calling me later, like probably a couple months later, and he asked me to drive down to, I had a car at this point, drive down to Atlantic City. So I'm in Connecticut. Atlantic City is about 5 hours. So I voluntarily did. He said he wanted to have me come down there and bring him back to Connecticut for someone's birthday. I think it was his daughter, I'm not sure, but somebody's birthday. I'm like, okay. So, and I'm still popping my own pills at this point. And I fly down there. Drive down to Atlantic City. And what happened is that I find out through my own experience that he this is hard. He wanted me to prostitute myself. And what happened was I found out, like, later that he was part of a sex trafficking ring. And I would be locked up in a motel room for days, and he would take my keys. He took my phone, and I do remember at one point that where I had lived at my cousin's, they had filed a missing persons report on me. So I was a missing person, and thank God, I mean, that happened. At least somebody knew that I should be someone I wasn't. But this all lasted about 5 months, from February 2012 to June 2012. And I remember the transactions that would take place, and he would tell me that I would have to go to this motel room door.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't call it, I would never heard the word prostituting.
Right.
It was date. You'll get a date. And when I first heard that, I'm like, I don't want to go on a date. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
You figure it out as you go. There's no handbook. There's, unless I met a couple girls that would kind of help me out a little bit. And I wonder where they are to this day. But it was like a whirlwind, but it lasted so long. And uh, I mean, I'm just grateful. I'm grateful for today. But anyway, so
Don't
that
be
is where,
ashamed or anything. You know, a lot of that happens to a lot of women, especially with methamphetamine addiction. A lot of dealers, a lot of guys do that, and take advantage of the girl and use the girl as basically an easy way to make money and keep that money coming in. You know what I mean?
right.
So don't be ashamed. I mean, girl, I did stuff like that willingly, so don't feel bad, okay? I don't want you to feel bad.
Oh, thank you, Nicole. So when I was in Atlantic City, however, that is when I was introduced to heroin. Now that's the devil to me. And that really, really put me under. I got to Atlantic City at that point at 120 pounds. 2 weeks later, I was about 98 pounds soaking wet. And I was smoking crack too. Like it was going out of style. And if I didn't get a date and I didn't work, he would withhold it from me. And dope sickness is the worst besides benzo sickness. But oh my God, did not want that to happen. And when you are manipulated and controlled, and it's a subtle manipulation and control. I've been asked, well, why didn't you just leave? Because they have control over me. And number two, where am I going to go? Where am I going to go? So you just become just so accustomed to what you're doing, and it becomes your life. And I remember like just saying, how did I get here? How did I get to this place in my life? And I used probably fully for probably 13 years from start to end, multiple inpatient, detoxes, and multiple IOPs. And finally, to go back to that, I end up leaving Atlantic City with him. He drives my car back up to Connecticut. And I remember him leaving my keys on the counter. And so I went and took my chances and left. And I went to a house down the street where I knew somebody, stayed the night. The next day, I went to rehab, and I went in with nothing but the clothes on my back. I went to the same detox I had gone to, and then that was 5 days. And they have counselors in there who ask you, would you want to go, we have a bed upstairs if you want to go to the 28 day. Then I did. I put myself, to this day, I say to myself, that was my surrendering, but I didn't know it at the time. I didn't look at it like that at the time. I kind of looked at it like, well, I have nothing else to go to, and I want to be safe. So I went to the 28 day. So while I'm there, I'm asked, well, do you want to continue on and go to the 90 day? I'm like, sure. So in between that period of the 28 day and the 90 day, if there isn't a bed at the 90 day, you can go down to what they have as the recovery house and stay there. Yep. And so I stayed down there for about 2.5, 3 weeks. And then I went back up, because where I went, the 90 day and the 28 day were on the same floor. So then they kind of commingled. So I went back to I went up to the 90 day program. And I mean, I got so much out of it this time. And I really like put everything I had into it. And I tell you, you know what? I still think of that place to this day like it was yesterday. They just, that place helped me so much because I put in what I needed to put into it too.
Yeah.
And take in what I needed to. And so I'm bringing this up too, because while I was at the 90 day, there was a 28 day person that I thought I recognized, a guy. Well, lo and behold, I did. We come to find out I knew him when I was about 14 years old. We had the same friend group, And so we started talking and everything, and he left his 28 day and I was still up at the 90 day. Well, we ended up dating, moving in together, and we've been married 9 years. Yeah.
You got a rehab romance and married him.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
hell.
Yep. I'm married.
That is so awesome.
Yes. Yep. Yep. I'm sure there's a lot I left out, but I mean, that's like the crux of it, I guess.
How did
You
you
know?
heal from all that? How did you heal from your basically you were sex trafficked, okay?
Yes, I was.
You were a
Yeah.
victim of sex trafficking. How
Yes.
did you heal from that? You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know if you've heard the story before, but I had a girl that I was working with. Her name was Rachel. She was in the same situation you were in. And I got her into treatment somewhere, and her pimp followed her across state lines, stalked her, and basically he ended up killing her. And then he killed her best friend. And it was tragic. And so, how, first of all, when you left and escaped from him, like, did you just finally have enough and you were like, I'm out of here? Or did you have to like devise a plan and like sneak out? And then whenever you did get away from him, did you have like a hard time staying away from him? Because like this girl that I was working with, she like kept going back to him, you know, because she would say that he loved her and that he took care of her and all this stuff, you know?
Right. So, yeah, I did go back to him, not that last time, but I did go back to him several times during the years. Um, but how I got away is that it wasn't a plan. It was a knee-jerk reaction, like spur of the moment. I've had enough. You know, I was 41 at the time. And I had enough. I just said, nope, I'm doing it. I'm going. So like I said, I went to the friend's house that I knew down the road. They kept me there overnight. And then I went in, and I'll tell you what, Nicole, I'm not healed from it completely. I still have night terrors. I still get paranoid when I see somebody that I might think is him, because as far as I know, he's still out there. I did look online. He did get arrested in Florida, but on the online thing, it said on out of state hold. And then that's all it really said. So I can't find anything else, but I do know that the main trafficker did get caught and is serving, I think, 20 years in New
Good.
Jersey. Yep. Mm-hmm. And so yeah, I'm not really fully healed. I'm in therapy right now. Yep. I just saw her yesterday, and she's amazing. She really is. I'm very grateful that I have such a good therapist, and she's helping me work through it.
Yeah, you're strong though. I feel like you're strong for being able to disconnect like getting away like you did. That's so awesome that you were able to get away from him, because I'm telling you, I'll have to tell you the whole story one day. I've told it before, and most of everybody here knows it, but I'll have to send you the video. But I'm telling you, like this pimp, he was a pimp. He called himself a pimp, whatever he was. He basically, killed her and then went after her friend because she wasn't alive anymore, and she still owed him money, and she was dead. So he killed her friend.
Oh, my word.
Like, it was crazy. So he was from jail. He had somebody go and shoot her best friend.
Yep, that happens. Yep.
And so like, you are so lucky you're so blessed that you're alive. You know what I mean? That you made it through that.
I say that to myself too. My husband even says it too. You're so strong. You're so brave. You got through all that. You can get through anything. And I tell myself that as well. And I just by the grace of God, I prayed every single day when I was in that motel room. Well, there was more than one, but while I was in them, and they call it walking the track, and I would walk the track. Yep. And I would pray. I'd be praying and praying, especially when there'd be some shady guy. I ended up going to some dude's house. Like, he picked me up in an SUV. The thing was nice. And I could have gotten killed at his house for all it's just, I look back and I'm like, wow, Wow. There's no
Yeah.
words. So
You
thank
you could
God.
have gotten, the toy box killer where they were like taking
Yes.
girls and they
Yep.
were holding them. Yeah, that could have been
Mhm.
you.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, in Atlantic City, there was the was it the Golden Key? I think it was the on instant and investigative discovery, the channel, there was 5 women found dead behind the Golden Key Motel. And that's like right off the strip of Atlantic City Boardwalk, right off the strip there. And I stayed at that motel. It's not there anymore. They knocked it down.
Yeah.
But whenever I saw it on TV, I was like, I stayed there. I was like, oh
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
God. I don't think they've ever found out who did it either. So
When you and your husband started dating, was it hard because y'all were both in recovery? Was it hard for you guys to like stay sober at the beginning? Like, did y'all have any struggles or anything like that?
well, in the beginning, it was hard for me. I, for him, he says it was easier, he thinks, than it was for myself. He was there for alcohol. He was a very bad alcoholic. And he would smoke crack. He never did heroin. He never used IV drugs or anything. However, you can die if you don't detox off alcohol properly,
Right.
as well as benzos, as we know. And so about 9 months into my recovery, at that point, I felt like I was getting a little squirrely, like I don't, I need to do something. So I got on Suboxone. And I've been,
Good.
yeah, yep. And I've been on it since 2015. And, I don't know if I ever come off it or not. I'm not going to answer that because, if I need it to live my life out of that terrible, awful life before, and then so be it. It is what it
Absolutely.
is. Yep.
And that's like good on you for so many people would have just relapsed. So many people would have relapsed and been ashamed and listened to what other people say and went and not got the help. And so you did the right thing. Go out there if you have to get back on Suboxone, get on Suboxone, get on methadone, get on Vivitrol, whichever one you prefer.
Yeah.
Don't worry about what anybody else says because they're not going to be living your life.
Right.
You know?
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely. You got that right. And I know the life that I had lived, and I don't ever want to go back there ever. Nope. Like I said before, I still have night terrors from it. So, I mean, part of it's still here and I am healing. But that's just, it's no, I have a good life now. I have
Yeah.
2 daughters. My youngest one still doesn't talk to me. My oldest one does. And my husband's kids, they're the same age as mine, funny enough, a boy and a girl. And we have a great relationship. And just very grateful that he is there understanding. My husband, he is like my rock, and he says that I'm his. From his previous marriage, my previous marriage, both tumultuous, that we can both support each other in that, as well as recovery too. He's felt a little squirrely at times too, like, don't get me wrong, he's come to me and we've talked and we support each other, and that's
Yeah.
what it's about. Yeah.
Totally. Well, tell me this. Have you how has it been for you being in recovery, being on Suboxone?
Oh, great. Amazing. I personally, I used to do 12-step meetings, and I for some reason I kept relapsing, and I'm not blaming it on that, but I don't go now, and I've remained drug free.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah, and I
awesome.
love it. Thank you. And I
feel
love
like
it.
I feel like we find what works for us. Like when I first got sober, I was at AA all the time. Like the first 3-4 years I was sober, I was there all the time, going to meetings, and all that stuff. And then I kind of grew out of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it just wasn't serving me anymore. And so I started doing something different. Nate, I'm on an interview right now. I love you. Bye. Okay, sorry, Nate.
It's okay.
He's like, ah. So I grew out of it and I started, doing stuff like this and having doing the interviews or having like group meetings and stuff like that, or going to other kind of meetings like Mara and stuff. And so that is what I do now, and it has helped me a lot. You know, did your husband do any kind of like recovery or anything like that?
Nope, not AA or NA, but he's a really good pool player. That's what he
See, I
does.
mean, some people can just walk. See, that's why I'm trying to show is how everybody is different. So some people, you guys need to go, they really need to be in a program. They need to have some kind of like you know,
Yeah.
schedule. And then some people do well, like your husband, and they go to treatment, they get off the booze, and they start their life, and they get back to it. You know, that's how Neil was. He is a person who likes to get back to it and get to, you know, just doing what he's supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
I'm the kind of person who likes to have like
Structure.
I like to have a balance between having a scheduled program and then not having it, you know?
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. I know exactly what you mean. Yeah. Yep. And I've worked very hard to get everything that I have. And just did it all with like no help from family or anything. We didn't want that. We wanted to do it on our own.
Yeah.
And because, you know, I can speak for myself, caused so much damage. I had to be the kind of person that needed to be tough loved, and I was tough loved. And it doesn't work for everybody. And, you know, I needed that. I was very stubborn. My family knew me, and they had to just like say enough's enough. So like towards the end, nobody was talking to me, and you know, it was probably the best thing, you know, instead
Well,
of like supporting me.
you said that your daughter, one of your daughters, doesn't talk to you anymore. Is it because she's still really upset with you from, you know, you being in addiction?
I I think so. I've asked her, you know, why she's going to be 24 in June, and she doesn't really ever give me an answer. But she doesn't really talk to me either, so it's kind of hard. I hear a lot of things from my older daughter,
Yeah.
but you know, it's not her job to be the in between. I don't want to put her in that position.
Right.
So if I don't know, I really don't know. I don't know.
All you can do is just keep on living your amends. Yeah, all you can do is keep on staying sober and showing through your actions that you're a changed person. You know what I mean? Because at a point, our family members, they get tired of hearing, "I'm going to change. I'll be different this time. Look, I've done this. I've done that." And so that we just have to stop saying it and just let them see it. And sometimes some people come around slower than others. Like my little sister Christine, she was the slowest to come around in like having a relationship with me again after my addiction, you know? So sometimes some people are just slower to, you know, coming around and being connected with you. But I know that as you stay sober longer, I bet you she'll come around sooner or later.
Yeah, I pray that that's the case too. I mean, I get it, you know, I get it. If she doesn't want to get hurt again or put herself in a position where she might, you know, I get it, you know, but she knows I'm here. And
Yeah.
my kids live in the same house. They still live at their dad's house. So, you know, she knows where I am.
Yeah.
Bottom
And you're
line.
doing it. I'm so proud of you. Y'all, Allison was so scared and nervous to come on here.
I know. I'm still nervous. I'm already
But you
doing
did
it.
good. You did
Thank
really
you.
good. And you know
Thank
what?
you.
Like I know that it's hard to talk about, but you could really help a lot of women by sharing about your experience with being trafficked. I'm telling you, there's so many people that are going through that right now, you know, and it's just overwhelming to see like there's children that are being trafficked, adults that are being trafficked, men, women, everything. And
Right.
so you're a survivor now. You were a victim, but now you're a survivor and you escaped and you're a warrior, you know?
I
You
don't know
should
if you
be
can
so
see.
proud of yourself.
Whoop. Where's my camera? So survivor.
I
My
love
tattoo.
that. I'm
Thanks.
really proud of you, like for real. I don't know if I know you've said something to me about it before, but I didn't know how in depth it had happened. And
Yeah.
so that is like something very, 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 very hard to get away from. So I'm so freaking proud of you. It's like a whole other addiction for some people. It
Right.
becomes a part of their life to the point where one of my girlfriends, she got sober and she was having such a hard time, like not doing that anymore,
Exactly.
because she made fast money, and she stayed connected to that jerk that would take her money. And I was like,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
it was like, it was an addiction it was another addiction.
Right. Right. And I was going to say, you make the money, but you don't keep it,
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you don't make enough, then you have a consequence. And, my nose has been broken. I had a burn mark on my neck. I have pictures of them still, it's just, and yeah, I would love to help people. I've been actually thinking about that for quite some time too. If you know any way or have any kind of, resources, let me know. I'd be more than
There's this
happy to help.
program called paths
Okay.
People Against Trafficking Humans.
Okay.
And I'll have to hook you up with it.
Yeah.
But it's a group, it's some ladies, and they like have safe houses and everything in
Okay.
all different states. And like you can literally be a mentor to some of the girls that are coming off the street that are getting away from, that lifestyle. And you could do that. You could, man, it would, and I'm telling you, like just doing the service work that I do, like doing my channel and helping people online, I love it. I get so much joy out of being helpful to other people that I just know that it would make you feel like you are getting high. That's what it's
Yeah.
like. Whenever you can help
Yeah.
somebody else and you can see them changing their life and you can see them starting to feel better about themselves, it's like using drugs, only positive, like a
Right.
good thing. You know what I mean?
So they're good. Yes,
I'm
exactly. Yes.
serious.
I so want to do that. Absolutely. I'd be totally interested in it.
Well, listen to me. I know you're nervous and I know you probably want to get off here. So I'm going to let you get off here and I'm going to talk to everybody for a minute after I let
Yeah.
you get off. But I just
All right.
want you to know that I'm really proud of you. You did an amazing job. You talked for a whole hour.
Wow. Oh my gosh, I did.
So you did good. I'm so proud of
Wow.
you. See, that wasn't
Thank
hard at
you.
all, was it?
Nope, not at all. Nope. And I'll teach you one thing in sign language real quick.
Okay, yeah.
I love you.
Oh, I
You're
love
cool.
you too, girl.
There we go. Yep.
Teach me something harder. I want to know something else. Teach me something else. My name is Nicole.
My name. Yep, name. And then you don't do is, and then you do Nicole.
Okay, I know this because I remember the alphabet. Heck yeah. Okay.
That's it. You go, girl.
I love you. Thank you so
Love
much
you
for
too.
coming on, okay?
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. I'll
All
text you when I get off here, okay?
All right. Good night.
Night. You guys, y'all, please, I want everybody to leave Allison some loving and supporting comments in the comment section, okay? Because it is so courageous to be able to come on here and share about being human trafficked, okay? Like that is serious, and it is like it leaves a scar on your life, and I'm not going to get too far into depth about it, but a lot of you guys know the story about my friend Rachel. In 2020, I went out to California to work with Dr. B, and I got a phone call on the 1-800 number from a girl looking for treatment, and her name was Rachel. And I don't know about you guys, but whenever people reach out to me for help, I become friends with them. Like we're talking on the phone, I'm knowing everything about their life, right? And so me and this girl became friends. I really wanted to help her change her life. And I was working with her and her best friend, Hannah, to help her get into treatment and change her life, right? Well, Hannah had found her a place in Tennessee, and they lived in West Virginia. And so they traveled to Tennessee, and the next day she was supposed to enter into treatment. Well, they got to the hotel room and they were taking a shower, and all of a sudden there was a knock at the door, and it was her pimp. He had literally followed her ass from West Virginia to Tennessee. And so she called the police. The police would not arrest him. That night they went out to eat, and on their way out of the restaurant, she turned the corner and he punched her dead in the face right there. And then they called 911 and he got arrested and he went to jail. Well, she ended up leaving AMA from that treatment center and ended up back in West Virginia. And we had gotten her an appointment with the Suboxone doctor, and she was going to get on MAT. And he was calling her from the jail over and over and over and over again. Well, that morning, Hannah had been calling her and she wasn't answering the phone. So she went to the house to see if she was there to take her to the Suboxone program. And she was dead in the house. She had overdosed. And guess who was on the phone right there beside her? Was the last person she talked to, was him. And he was threatening her and telling her that he was going to kill Hannah, that he was going to kill me, that why was I trying to help her go to treatment, all this horrible shit, right? Well, Hannah, I told her, I said, do not go anywhere. Stay with your mom. Don't go back to your apartment. Listen, okay? She didn't listen. And the next morning, she went to her apartment to get some clothes, and she was shot dead outside of her apartment. And she was pregnant. She had just told me she was pregnant. So this was some scary ass shit. Okay. So the fact that Allison was able to escape from her trafficker, and get sober and turn her life around it's doesn't happen for a lot of people. A lot of people don't ever escape, And so I'm really proud of you, girl. And now, like, you're so strong, and I have so much respect for you because you are just really, really strong. So let me see what y'all are saying. These stories are so important. Hey, Brittany, I need some advice or even some encouragement. Myself and my husband used drugs together about 15 years ago for about a year. We both went to rehab separately for 4 months, and we did not see each other. When we came home, we worked the program and things were good. Many ups and downs, but drugs were never a part of our life anymore. We got married, have 3 children, 12, 9, and 3, 12, 9, and 3.5 months ago. Oh, and 3. 2 months ago, we went to a wedding and we both used cocaine, and we haven't stopped since that wedding. We have tried. Ooh, that cocaine will get you, honey. That cocaine will get you. You know what y'all need to do? You guys need to surrender. You need to get yourself disconnected from that. What y'all need to do is you guys need to get with your family members and get those kids doled out to family members so they'll be safe and taken care of, and go and get help, because it's too hard to try and stop while you're plugged into your regular everyday life and you have access to it, right? And so for me, every time I've ever quit drugs, I had to disconnect from that lifestyle. I had to go into like treatment for 30 days to get away from everything. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what I would do. I would call my mom, my dad, my grandma, my grandpa, my sisters, my brothers, my uncles, my whoever. And I would be like, y'all, we need help. We need help. And I don't want my kids to get taken away. I don't want nothing bad to happen, but we need to get sober. We need to get our lives together, because it's only going to get worse. It's only going to continue to get worse, and something bad could happen. And then if I don't want, CPS to get involved, because that will make it even worse. And I know, because I had them involved in my life, And so that's what I would do. I would get the whole crew together and get some help and get out of Dodge. I'm a little older than Allison, and just to hear her has changed my night, and I plan to replay her story in my mind when I'm feeling hopeless. That's awesome, Marie. Thank you for saying that. Thank you. I really enjoyed your interview. Oh, Allison, I really enjoyed your interview you did today. I'm so proud of you too. Get out of the bad environment that you were in. Keep your head up. You can do it. You are awesome and great. I'm also on Suboxone and I'm really doing great on it. I'm happy for your new relationship and marriage. If you ever need to talk, you can text me. Oh, that's awesome, Cynthia. See, Allison, you have so many people in here that are supporting you, that are cheering you on, that are proud of you. And oh, that's another thing I want to address. Like, so Allison was struggling, you guys, and she had gotten sober and she was struggling and she knew, hey, I can struggle and I can relapse and I can go back to my addiction, or I can get help and I can get on Suboxone. And so she went and she got the help and she got on Suboxone. And so a lot of people would say, oh my gosh, don't do that. Don't get on Suboxone. Why would you do that after being abstinent, after being, because I don't want to die, because I don't want to fucking kill myself from fentanyl overdose, because it's going to help me to live my life and be a better person. We have no family. We have friends that are taking them for the weekend, and that's the best we can do. We have told them everything. Oh, good. You got some friends? Good job. Yeah, get them friends rallied up. That's what I would do. And I'm telling you guys, like, you guys are, if you're going to be able to do this on a weekend, y'all are going to have to do this. You guys are going to have to get rid of your phones, literally get rid of your phones. So that way you don't have their phone numbers. I'm talking about block their numbers, remove their numbers, everything. Okay. Like, totally. You're going to have a sign on your door that says, I'll call the cops if you come in here trying to sell me drugs. That's what me and my husband had to do when we got sober. Because they'll come by. They're going to come by. They're going to be looking for you. They're going to be looking for you because you're their money ticket. You're paying their rent, honey. And so they need that money, So you're going to have to be prepared, preparation. It's so hard, man. It's so hard. I know it's hard. Believe me. But you guys have each other to support each other. So you can do it. You can do it. You know what I mean? Hey, get your ass plugged in and get to it. Kick ass and kick names. Don't let nobody discourage you either. Just get into it and start doing the damn thing, Yeah, good, Kimmy. That makes me happy to hear that, because I always worry. I don't want you guys to ever feel like ashamed, If you need to get back on your Suboxone, you get back on your Suboxone. There's nothing to be ashamed of. Simone, and I'm telling you, girl, we'll be praying for y'all, because I know how hard it is. Me and my husband, we used to shoot cocaine, and that shit honestly, cocaine is one of those drugs that, like, if I did it today, it's one of those drugs that, like, gets you sucked in so fast, and it's that mental obsession. Oh, it makes you so sick, that mental obsession. Okay. And so you have to start really retraining your brain. You have to start thinking about how negatively cocaine has affected your life and how it's ruined your life. And you need to be replaying that in your brain over and over and over again. You need to be thinking about how it's ruining your life, how you're good. You need to be thinking about losing your children. I mean, it needs to be that serious, for you guys to stay away, because it's such an addicting drug, and the whole process of it and everything, I know, believe me. I'm making myself some quesadillas, y'all. Cheese and turkey quesadillas. But you can do it. I mean, you can do anything you put your mind to. And I 100% believe that, I know every single one of you guys can get sober and stay sober. That's honestly, that's why I don't do stuff. You guys, you said you guys went to a wedding. That's why I don't do shit. That's why I'm a lame, honey. You won't catch me at no weddings. I stay in. I'm a hermit crab because I'm scared. You know what I mean? It scares me. And so you guys need to get back to that place where you have that healthy fear and be real mindful after you get back on track of what you're doing and where you're going, who you're hanging out with, you know? So that way you don't run yourself into another situation like that. You know what I'm saying? Ooh. But don't beat yourselves up, okay? Because that's just going to be, that's pointless. Get back on track, okay? Get them friends to help you out and get your ass back on track. And just start kicking ass and taking names, you know? Just put the pedal to the metal, man. You know? Hold on, let me fold my little quesadillas. It's so, and you'll feel so much better once you get sober too, because that damn cocaine, man, I'm telling you what makes you feel like shit. Ugh. I know y'all are feeling like shit. Hey, Cece, what's up, girl? Yeah, just tied up in a knot. I'm proud of Allison, y'all. Allison did the damn thing tonight, y'all. She did the damn thing. She told her story and she told it and she took her power back. What? I'm so proud of her. Quesadillas, you want one? Okay. I love spicy mustard. My favorite. Okay. So anyway. Yeah, honestly, I didn't know how strong you were, Allison, and that just really, when you started talking about that, it really hit me. Like, damn, you have been through a lot, and you are such a positive person, and so uplifting and kind, and I'm just so grateful to have you and call you my friend. So I love you guys. I'm going to get off here and end this live. If you guys enjoyed Allison's story tonight and you are interested in telling your story, you can message me on Facebook or Instagram and I can get you on the schedule. We're booked out through May, but we got spots in the middle of May. So if you guys want to come tell your story, hit me up and I'll get you on the schedule and I'll be looking forward to hearing your story. Here on this channel, we celebrate all pathways to recovery. It doesn't matter if you're abstinent, Cali sober, plant medicine, whatever it is that helps you stay sober, we celebrate that shit because we don't judge nobody's journey. It doesn't matter if you're sober or you're not sober. If you're actively using substances, you can still come and hang out with us because we used to do that too. And so nobody's going to judge you here. Okay. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Discovering Nicole. And if you enjoyed my content and you want to spend more time with me, you can join my Patreon. It's in the pinned comment. And on Patreon, we go live every Friday night at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, just me and my patrons. So I hope you guys, if you want to join, will join that. It's only $2. And I love y'all, and I hope y'all have a great night, and I'll see y'all later.